Here's some great news from Tom Trento, host of the daily WNN Trento Vision Show. Due to the unparalleled success of the Trento Vision Show, you now have an amazing opportunity to advertise on the Trento Vision Show. If you want more information about this excellent opportunity for your business, please contact Tom Trento at 561-319-5533, or you can email him, tom@trentovision.tv. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Oh, that was a short honeymoon. Oh, my word. I guess Morsai's not going to be on the president's Christmas list this year. Listen to this. President Obama, who praised Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi for brokering a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas just the other day, has not spoken to the Islamist since his alarming power grab, a White House spokesman said Monday. Oh, President Obama lost his friend Mohamed Morsi. What a shame. Oh, what a web we weave here. First of all, the President of the United States, his political and global ideology actually views and benefits from an entity like the Muslim Brotherhood bringing some consolidation to all the Muslim countries. Hey, if I can deal with one guy like Morsi, he's a sharp guy. They were commenting, CJ, about Morsi the other day that he speaks his mind. He's got an engineer. This is the White House. He's got an engineering mind, and what he says he means, and he's very analytical. He's the kind of guy we can deal with. Oh, not anymore. Oh, look, Egypt's Morsi hasn't heard from Obama since power grab. What a stupid administration we have in Washington, D.C. They have no concept of what a person believes, only what a person is saying. That and the people that voted for President Obama, most of them have no concept of what a person believes. Obama, only what he says. So they're two peas in the same pot. Oh, my God. Anyway, Tom Trento here on trentovision.tv on a beautiful Monday afternoon where it's only 75 degrees in our little room on the 26th, Monday. Man, it's flying. The Monday, the 26th of November. We hope everyone had a fabulous Thanksgiving Day. And outside it is what? What is the temperature outside of our windows?
77 degrees in beautiful downtown Boca
Raton.
Raton.
It really is nice. Look,
No. Sorry, 75.
75. Okay, you can see the sun setting to the west and casting that beautiful yellow glow. Invisible Mike, traffic report, please.
Several cars
on Dixie Highway. So there is traffic. It is Monday, and there is weather, and we are here for you. CJ, myself, one of our anchors here, Mark Campbell. Mark Campbell is not with us. He and his wife are at a funeral up in the Northeast. So if you're inclined to prayer, you can send little prayers to the Northeast as they are going through a family situation. He'll be back toward the end of the week. So our thoughts, prayers are with him.
And we miss you.
We miss Mark. Yes, we do. Everything's so calm and peaceful in here, huh?
Yeah, it just doesn't seem right.
No, where's the chaos?
Yeah.
But
we were just talking about that in the elevator.
Literally in those words.
But it's such an enjoyable chaos. Do we have?
Actually, we have a couple of calls. If do we still have Bill holding? Let's get Bill from Deerfield on, and then we have Rich Swire.
Okay, Bill from Deerfield. You're on with Tom and CJ. How are you?
Yes, hi, Tom. Tom, I have two questions.
Sure.
If the Congress doesn't agree by the end of the year with the Bush tax cut expiring, someone making, say, $50,000 a year, not $1 million, what would an increase be for that person, approximately? You know, if the Bush tax cuts expire, and Congress sometimes doesn't agree immediately, and this thing may, all of a sudden, what will his taxes go up like in January?
Well, yeah, every I don't know the exact number.
No, that's okay.
At 50,000, but certainly if the tax cuts go away, now, in one sense, a guy making $50,000 as critical as is losing any money at that level. If we don't get this thing sorted out before the end of the year, we're going to have problems so large, so great, so overwhelming that even the guy making 50 grand is going to go, what the heck is going on?
It might look like the streets of Cairo.
But for sure, more money will be taken out of his weekly check. And what I have seen, a lot of people at that level, and $50,000 is a lot of money, but if you're trying to raise a family with 4 kids, it's tough. They're going to say, screw it. I see all these Obama people, just going in the lines and Obama money. I want to know what I can get from this president. I've worked hard. Now he's taking taxes from me. So we're going to see people starting to do the Obama math.
I got it.
We're going to see people doing the Obama math.
I got the Obama math here, yeah.
But the Obama math concept is, all right, I'm making, $800 a week, and I got all these expenses and all this stuff. How much can I get for unemployment, and then subsidize my unemployment with under the table work, where I don't have to pay taxes, and then get some Obama food stamps.
Yeah.
And if you're in that $50,000 range, you can do work under the table, no taxes. You can get food stamps and unemployment. Now watch what happens. You were a productive member of society paying taxes. Obama takes the Bush tax cuts away. You're at that marginal level. Now you're on unemployment. Now you're on food stamps, and you're working under the table, and no taxes are being paid in. That's how stupid the Obama people are. But anyway.
Anyway, your taxes would go up about $1,500 a year.
That's what I heard.
From 2012 to 2013.
Yeah. Now, the other question I have is very important, too. People aren't getting the answer to. These 40 million uninsured on Obamacare, they're supposed to get some kind of a health card in the mail next year. I don't know when. Now, when is that supposed to come for these 40 million uninsured? When is this health card come? It's not for me. I'm retired. But when is this health card supposed to come, and what will that cost that individual?
Okay.
Well, first of all, the software to run the Affordable Care Act isn't even finished yet, isn't even completed. So the software to run the program hasn't been completed. It's behind schedule. So it's going to cost a lot more money to send all this stuff out than anyone anticipated, except many of the Republicans. We said it's a boondoggle from the start. Anyway, Bill, we got to get going because we got a special guest coming on in a minute. Let's go to Rich.
Yeah, let's go to Rich Swire. Hi, Rich.
Hello, I understand you got somebody coming on. Real quick for Bill, if he goes to watchdogwire.com/Florida, he will find a article there. It says Floridians brace for 5.21% federal tax increase in 2013. There's actually, and it's an article from the about the Tax Foundation. There's actually a link to a Tax Foundation online tax calculator. You can actually plug in data and find out exactly how much your tax increase is. You're a little bit short there, CJ.
I didn't plug in. Yeah, I didn't plug in everything. I just went for 50. Yeah.
The average tax savings from a 1-year extension of the Bush tax cuts for the average Floridian is $2,079.
Wow.
Okay. Well, this must be
that's
national.
Why I called.
Yeah. Cool.
I have a question for Tom and CJ.
Okay.
Who are the experts in foreign policy and know so much about it. When did President President Obama know about President Morsi's power grab? Or did he know it, and when did he know it? Because I had a conversation with several people, and of course we all know that Hillary Clinton was there negotiating the Gaza issue for, shuttling between Israel and Gaza and the Palestinian Authority in Egypt. So did Morsi tell her about the power grab, which I'm assuming he could or could not? And so when did Obama know? And because if he did know while that was going on, was there some deal cut?
Yeah. Great questions, man.
That's a good question.
I
would say definitely.
God bless you all for the great work you do.
I would say definitely that Obama knew about it sometime after he knew about what happened in Benghazi, for one thing. And then the other thing I would say is, Turkey and Qatar might have had something to do with that, too.
Yeah, my guess is he knew real time.
Yeah.
That there was something going on in Egypt.
Yeah.
In terms of this Morsi power grab, because because Morsi knows that he needs the money coming from the United States. So did he get a nod and a wink from Hillary?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Set yourself up to be the power in the region, so we don't have to worry about this Hamas business too much, and just keep everybody in line for us and do what you want.
No, exactly. In other words, we simply endorse the Muslim Brotherhood's power grab, and
right.
Now are we gonna see another green spring, another green protest? We already are seeing people protest in Egypt, and so will Obama stick with Morsi, or will he throw Morsi eventually under the bus?
Well, just Fox is reporting that Obama won't talk to him right now, but the model, the geopolitical model that we all have to keep in mind, the historic model is 1979, when Khomeini came back and took over power.
Yeah,
there were people opposed to him and rioting and all of that. So Morsi is following the Iranian model on taking over a country, almost the same size, very similar in many respects. And he may have gotten a nod from Iran, and this is bizarre because we got this Shia up there and the Sunnis down here saying, look, take over the country. Let's put the caliphate together. We'll worry about our little issues later. Don't worry about U.S. money. We'll put the money together.
Right.
So
I just posted on WatchdogWire.com Claire Lopez's column, which basically, and you had her on your show last week about following the Khomeini game plan. And so I think you're absolutely right that.
Right. And of course, Morsi was in Tehran in September, before he went to the UN, right before the embassy got taken down in Cairo and the mission in Benghazi. And Morsi was in Tehran doing who knows what right before all that came down.
Absolutely.
Hey, Rich.
All right, well, thank you for all you do. I love your show, and we here in Sarasota, on the left coast of Florida. Actually, you're on the left coast of Florida, but we're on the left coast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right.
We're on the west coast of Florida. We love you here in Sarasota.
All right, thank you very much.
Rich.
And all the stuff that guys like Dr. Rich Swire, a retired lieutenant colonel, 24 years, Vietnam veteran, and then second career as investigative journalist. He's with WatchdogWire.com right now. Watchdog Wire is an organization dedicated to protecting Americans from the intrusion of the government. All the work that Rich has done with us, the United West, through the years. Right. We're seeing it. I mean, at warp speed. We're seeing some of the stuff we said could possibly happen, and people go, "You're freaking crazy!" We're seeing it happen at warp speed.
Well, what he's doing, I tell you, what Rich is doing with WatchdogWire.com is super, super important right now, because what he's doing is he's actually training citizen journalists regular, everyday people who just have common sense and need to know the basic skills for investigating and reporting the truth. And he's teaching them how to do it, and he's showing them how to get it published, and the truth is getting out there. He's working his way around the mainstream media. He's putting out articles that Fox News is never going to cover. But if you think about everything that we covered during the election and all the people who were reporting to us from different polling places and all the voter fraud that they saw and everything else, those people were writing for WatchdogWire.com.
And anybody listening to us, to me, Tom Trento, or to Cheryl Joy, CJ, anyone out there in Radio Land or TV Land, you too can be a citizen journalist, because that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Rich has workshops, regional workshops where you come in, experts come in from around the country. They teach. These are not like Mickey Mouse workshops. These are people that have done serious investigative work, have gone in under disguise for times and all of that. You don't have to go to that level.
Right.
But it's that level of instruction. So if you want to get involved using your computer, you may not even have to leave your house, because a lot of this stuff is done now.
A lot of it is available online. Contact
Rich Swire, SWIER, watchdogwire.com. So we want you to go see Rich. And
can we do a couple of quick calls?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Valanda, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm on the...
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Listen, I had two questions for you and Tom. The first question I've got is with regards to the guy that produced that film that everybody put the blame on for this
right.
This thing that happened over in the Middle East in Libya.
Right, the innocence of Muslims.
Is that gentleman still languishing in jail, or what?
Yeah, actually, what happened to him was he finally had his hearing, I think a day or two after the election, and they decided to keep him in jail for a year for some kind of parole violation or something. So they're keeping him locked up.
And he is non-repentant too, as of today. He said, Actually, the movie, as goofy and stupid. Did you see it, Yolanda? Did you see it, Valanda?
No, I didn't see it, but I've listened to people who were talking about it. I just knew something instinctively when the administration and Susan Rice got up there talking about how it was to blame for all the trouble in Libya. I knew instinctively someone was lying. They were all lying.
Right.
And I was just wondering how this gentleman fared, because I understand he's a Coptic Christian.
Right.
Which is, right now, if you're in Egypt and you're a Coptic Christian, you're trying to get out of there.
You want to get out of Dodge, yep.
And you're not going to fare well. And the fact of the matter is, Hillary, I understand, during the funerals of those of the ambassador and those SEALs, again, she and I understand Obama blamed the film when they interacted with the parents, and I just wanted to know what was happening to him, because I know there's got to be a fatwa out on him, and not to mention him having to stay, him being incarcerated. I was wondering how is he faring, and also I was also curious about Jordan. How is King Abdullah faring with all this commotion going on around him? Because between Syria, Libya,
let me. We got to move ahead a little bit.
You're buzzing right now.
We got to move ahead a little bit. I'm going to answer those. Thanks for calling, for sure.
Good to talk to you. Thanks for calling in.
Yes.
All righty.
King Abdullah in Jordan wishes, I think, he was in prison with Mark Baisley Yousaf, which is his real name, because it's a little safer in prison than in Jordan nowadays. Muslim Brotherhood is basically laying the groundwork to take over Jordan, which they will before the end of the year. And if you notice, Jordan is to the east of Israel, Egypt's to the south, to the west is the Hamas, to the north is Lebanon, and Nasrallah, Hassan Nasrallah, the prime minister of Hezbollah, over the weekend said, He laughed. He said 8 or 10 Fajr 5 missiles through Israel into a conniption. Israelis were running scared all over the place because of 5 or 6 missiles. What are they going to do when I send 10,000 missiles down on them? This is the head of Hezbollah over the weekend threatening Israel, saying if you come near us, if you think about harming us or doing anything in Lebanon, I will devastate your country. That was over the weekend. They're to the north. A little bit to the northeast is a fun place called Syria, where Muslims are slicing each other's throats. Today, the Syrian army just devastated parts of cities all over Syria, trying to kill the terrorists. They're all terrorists. And then we have Iraq right next to those guys, and then that fun country, Iran. So Israel lives in a nice neighborhood, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, as of the last couple of days, the Jordanians have been arresting top Muslim Brotherhood members and putting them in jail. So good luck with that.
Yeah, that's going to work.
And of course, that's backed by local Palestinians.
Listen to this. This is a question that Volanda had about the guy who made the 14-minute movie. It's not really a movie. I mean, you know, I
it's
know
a
little
trailer.
It's not even a trailer. It's a nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no coherence
it's like a cartoon.
to it. There's no coherence. There are a couple of scenes stuck together. They make no sense. The lighting, the audio, nothing makes any sense.
Yeah.
But the gentleman who made it, this Coptic Christian, Mark Baisley Youssef, he said in prison, he said the film portrayed Muslim as in explaining his reasons for the film, he cited atrocities by Muslims. After a Muslim gunman killed 13 in Fort Hood that we covered quite a bit. He said, I thought before I wrote the script, I should burn myself in a public square to let American people and the people of the world know this message I believe in, said Youssef. So he wanted people to understand this. He has no regrets for making this. I don't know what's going to happen with whether or not there's an actual... I know he had a movie because he played the movie in Hollywood. No one came. He had a premiere for it. Nobody came. So there's a movie somewhere if it hasn't been burned. But let's see. Let's bring Mark on the line, and we're waiting for David. Yeah, Mark, you're on the line.
Hey, Tom. I go away for a couple days, and Muslim Brotherhood's our new peace partners, and Egypt's now got a pharaoh, and what the hell are you guys doing?
Oh, it's you, Mark. I didn't know it was you, Mark. Oh, yes. Look, you go away, and the Western civilization starts unraveling at the seams here at WNN 1470.
Maybe instead of coming straight home, you can just head over to Cairo and bring your camera and send some good coverage back for us.
Really? No kidding.
Work on your tan.
Live stream back. Live dead stream. You can dead stream in the Dead Sea.
I'm sure you'll blend.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a fun day there. Both sides are promising, million-man marches against each other. So we're keeping our schedule wide open for tomorrow to cover this craziness because, as you know, Mark, this stuff affects Americans all over the place. And to the degree that the Islamic world is being energized by their conquests and their moves, it affects the Muslim world in the United States of America. So, but how are you doing up there? How are you and your wife, and how's the situation?
It's all good. We're at a function. Here's a funny story. We're at a function last night with a little get together, and a couple of these, I would call them liberal Jews because we're up in Connecticut, and so I'm going through they're asking, well, what do you do? I said, well, we report national security issues and all that, and says, well, what do you think about Hamas? I said, well, Israel exists and continues, just Islam will obliterate it. You tell me what that's all about. And they're like, what? It says that? And I go, yeah, right in Hamas charter. Right there you go. I go, and they launching 15,000 rockets, or 20,000 rockets since 9/11. They go, what? Really? Yeah. So they're completely clueless up here what's going on, in the Middle East. And they're like, well, we want to listen to your show. So hand out cards and everything. So.
Oh, beautiful.
It's crazy. So we're expanding. I'm after expanding the audience up here in Connecticut. So.
My gosh.
The whole northeastern mindset. I mentioned earlier. I don't know if you were on the line, but one of the mistakes the Obama administration makes continually is they only listen to what a person says. Mohammed Morsi, we love you and all of that. They don't analyze what a person believes. And in a similar way, the Obama voters did the same thing. They listened to what he said, but didn't analyze what he believes. And now Obama won't speak to Morsi. Some of the news outlets are reporting that Obama doesn't want to contact him, doesn't want anything to do with anything. This was his good friend 2 days ago, his peace partner for the world, and now he doesn't want anything to do with him. So, as much as we did not want Obama to win the presidency, hopefully the undecideds. Did you guys see Saturday Night Live?
You always ask me that, and I don't watch it.
No, you don't watch it. Okay.
Yeah.
It was a repeat from before the election.
Okay.
Right? And it was one of the funniest spots I've seen in a long time. It was a woman comes on, a very attractive, highly educated, middle-aged woman. She says, "It is 3 days to the election, and I'm undecided." Right? And then, you cut to another guy who's a businessman with a briefcase. I, too, am one of the undecideds. And then, the college student on his way to school, me too, and the soccer mom, and all these beautiful people, undecideds. Mm-hmm. And then they come back to them and say, well, why are you undecided? Well, is there an election this year? Right? and then the other one says, if there is an election, who's running? And if somebody's running, what do they believe? Right? They were completely clueless. And this commercial brought to you by the Undecided Society of North America, where we know nothing and will never know anything, but we'll determine who the president is. One of those things.
Right.
Unbelievable. Maybe this mess that Obama has gotten us into will wake up some people so that in 2 years, for the next congressional go-around, we can get some good people up there, like Alan West back up there. But I think we have our special guest this hour on the line. So, Mark, are you listening on iHeartRadio, Mark Campbell?
Yeah, it's crystal clear.
Okay, great.
Clear.
Cool.
You listen. We're going to let you go.
Kisses to you and Jess.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, you take care. We're going to bring in our guest for the hour. Let's see. David, are you there?
Guest for the 20
Care National, threatening to sue on the grounds that this fellow hadn't done any work. They fired Morse Days as a result because they were in so much hot water. But when they fired him, they didn't bother. In other words, we learned something, those of us old enough, from the Watergate days, where the crime is one thing, but the cover-up of the crime is many times worse. And that's what happened here. They had hired him negligently. They didn't do any due diligence. They allowed him to just kind of run roughshod over their clients. But when they finally realized they had to terminate him, they covered it up. And they didn't tell their clients. They buried the files. They took the files out of Virginia, brought them to Washington, essentially buried them in their archives over there. And they would settle with clients who would come and threaten lawsuits. But if you didn't come and threaten an actual litigation and a lawsuit with an attorney in hand, you just simply got brushed off. And a month later, they found out, after just a little bit of effort, that he wasn't even an attorney.
Wow.
And this was in March of 2008. And in March of 2008, once again, they had remember that these dozens of clients, including my 5 plaintiffs, 3 of whom are Muslim.
Hey, David, let me ask you that. I mean, when I explain this case to people, they go, Yerushalami, he's anti-Muslim. How's he have Muslim clients? How does that happen? How did that happen?
Well, it is true that David Yerushalmi is identified by CARE as a Muslim hater, a black hater, a woman hater. He's even identified by CARE as a Jew hater, all of which is interesting, of course, since I'm an Orthodox Jew. But nonetheless, these clients, as victims, deserve representation, and my law firm represents people of all faiths on immigration or religious freedom matters, on contract matters, people of all colors and nationalities. So that, of course, is CARE's way of, anytime you say anything critical of CARE or you litigate against them, and as you well know, Tom, then you're immediately identified as a hater of almost any item that they can think of: women, children, blacks, whites, peanuts, elephants, whatever it is, you hate them. That's the CARE narrative, and that's, of course, a narrative that they not only state publicly in all their press releases about me, but every time they walk into court, they go and rant in front of the judge.
Oh, really? Oh.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes the judge has very little patience for it and threatens to send them to the bar, and penalize their attorney. And other times they just kind of...
we saw this in the Rivka Barry case.
Yeah, wave it away. So but even after they fired the guy and found out that a month later that he was an attorney, they still didn't reach out to their clients. Because remember, they still had all their legal files. These were still their clients, and yet they did not do what they should have done. They were fiduciary. They owed a duty to these people of the highest order, and they buried it. And they also concocted a story that said, well, Morse Days wasn't really our resident attorney. He wasn't supposed to actually be litigating, even though they had publicized in the media and on their website what a great attorney he was for their clients. And they also said he was an independent contractor, meaning that we can't be liable for the bad acts of an independent contractor. He wasn't an employee, and that was fraudulent.
Oh.
At the end of the day, during the testimony of the deposition testimony, we have 2 very incriminating statements. One was by the CARE representative under oath. When I asked, why did you settle with some clients at all? If you're claiming he's an independent contractor and you had no responsibility for him, why did you settle? And the young woman answered in a moment of honesty, well, when one of your employees does something wrong, you have to make it right. Well, as it turns out, Mr. Iqbal, who's the head of, at least was, of the Adams Center, that group out in Washington.
Sure.
But he was the executive director of CARE National and running CARE Herndon, Virginia. He testified under oath, and I asked him, well, given the fact that you controlled his every movement, you were his supervisor, he opened, mail at your office, he had his own letterhead, he had his own office in CARE, all indices of employment, not independent contractor. why is it that you identified him and paid him on the IRS tax form as an independent contractor? So Iqbal, again, in a kind of lapse of honesty, says, well, we just didn't want to pay the employer deduction. Well, guess what that is? That's an admission of tax evasion.
Yep.
So you've got this admitted. First of all, we all know what CARE is. An unindicted co-conspirator in terrorism financing, Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood front group.
Right.
It's a criminal organization, simply. Now, here in this case, what we've been able to do, beyond just the kind of government's accusations of such, that was never proven in the court of law. Now we have the opportunity, after 2 years of hardcore litigation in federal court, where we've asked the federal judge, look, the evidence is in front of you. We can take it to a jury and get a judgment from the jury of liability and damages, or we think we don't even need to try the case on liability. As a matter of law, based upon all of the evidence in front of you, this is a criminal organization that's engaged in fraud and is liable for that fraud. Now it's up to the judge to decide. I dare say that our view is the judge will find liability, and then all we're going to have to do is try damages, and that will be a question of how many zeros after the one we can put after, we can chalk up.
Wow.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, CJ, you had a question?
Yeah, I do. David, these 5 former CARE clients, what type of cases were they involved with, and why were they going to CARE for their cases?
Well,
I mean, CARE's not a law firm. I mean, that's kind of like going to the Jewish Federation, isn't it?
Well, not really. CARE National holds itself out as essentially a public interest law firm. They claim they're not a legal services organization in their tax filings, but that's also not really true. They do a lot of other work. They lobby, they do public relations, but they do, on a regular basis, employ in-house attorneys to represent members of the public. That's a public interest law firm.
Okay.
And so, and they do that at many of their not only in CARE National, but they do it in any chapter office that has an attorney. As they testified, that would be the case here in Herndon, where they had an attorney. They even called him their resident attorney. And he was purportedly representing people. Now, cases that we had, 3 of our clients are Muslim Americans, 2 of whom were African American Muslim Americans, 1 of whom was a Pakistani, and they all came for employment discrimination cases, harassment and retaliatory discrimination. A typical CARE case.
Right.
One client was a
shakedown.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Some cases are shakedown. Some cases people are legitimately discriminated against. CARE is very good at the shakedown, but it is true, of course, that employers, private city, especially city and state agencies, from time to time, supervisors go wild and discriminate, harass clients. And I will say that in the case of my clients here, I do believe they had legitimate cases. Now, unfortunately, by the time Days was done with them and had not actually filed any lawsuits, the statute of limitations for the lawsuits expired. But notwithstanding that, we had 3 cases of immigration, of employment discrimination. We had 1 case of a immigrant who was trying to get his legal status rectified, and then a 5th plaintiff who was simply seeking a divorce, and they had agreed to represent her. So you have a variety of cases, some of which are right up CARE's alley, others who are a little bit outside the norm, but all of which, CARE agreed to represent them and claimed to be litigating their cases for them.
How did they find you?
Well, we discovered the fraud in the context of a research project that was taking place in Herndon, Virginia. And the researcher who uncovered this fraud reached out to a handful of the victims, and after explaining to them the circumstances, they were looking for an attorney. And he made the connection with my firm, and they reached out to me and retained us. And we actually, it's interesting, we initially brought this lawsuit in 2008 as a federal racketeering case.
Right.
Because we were going to sue not just the entities but the individuals as a kind of criminal enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, federal racketeering or RICO cases are very complicated, very hard to prosecute. The courts don't like them unless they're kind of your typical mafia type case. And so that case was dismissed on the RICO counts, but the fraud, the breach of fiduciary duty, they were dismissed without prejudice, so we could refile. We immediately did refile in the same court, and those cases were consolidated, and those are the cases that we filed on Friday for a motion for summary judgment.
All right, David, this is a fascinating case. We only have a couple of minutes left. How can people get in touch with you? You do First Amendment work. You and your partner, Rob Muse, just recently opened a new First Amendment firm and religious rights, civil rights firm. So how can they get in touch with you, and what's the timeline? What should people be looking for on this case? These things drag out. Sounds like you're expediting this, and we can see something in our lifetime here, huh?
Yeah, well, we've been at it, as we said, the original suit was in 08, so this has been going on for 4 years. This particular rendition of the litigation for 2 years. So, and trust me when I say it's been a knockdown, drag out. It is a knockdown, as you know, Tom.
Yeah.
These guys, they have lawfare as a matter of stealth jihad down pretty pat. So it feels like a long time, but we're closing in now. The noose is tightening. My guess is the judge could rule within 6 months, and if he does, and in our favor, then we'll just go into a damage part of the litigation where we're just trying to figure out how much CARE is going to either pay over, or if they don't pay it over, we'll put them in involuntary bankruptcy.
Oh, tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, that would be sweet. But first and foremost, we want to get our clients justice and get fair compensation. In terms of your first question, Robert Muse, who's just probably the nation's top First Amendment lawyer, has been noted as such by judges in open court over and over again. Former combat Marine, 12 children, devout Catholic, just an incredible individual and attorney. He and I had been litigating together. He was senior counsel to Thomas More Law Center for years, and he and I have been litigating for about 4 years together on various cases. And we finally joined forces formally and created in January of this year the American Freedom Law Center. So if people want to find out about us and reach out to us, they can do so by going to www.americanfreedomlawcenter.org. And our plate of litigation, as it were, includes First Amendment law, religious freedom. We've litigated on behalf of Christians and free speech, nativity scenes. We've litigated, as you know, on behalf of Pamela Geller and her advertisements on school buses very successfully across the nation in federal court.
Right.
Identifying the jihadists as savages versus civilized man. And we also do battle in this battle space, which is the stealth jihad battle space, as we call it, aggressively. And probably one of the only firms that does that and does that at a level of specialty that allows for the kind of success, thank God, that we've had.
I would love it if you would be able to visit our show again and maybe participate in a discussion on the Sharia-compliant finance that you're so well famous for.
Well, I'd love to. I'm a big believer and admirer of Tom Trento, who's one of the real, not just soldiers, but one of the officers in the trenches. And I think this radio program is a wonderful vehicle and would be more than happy and proud to join anytime you want me to.
Great.
Well, the feeling
you.
is mutual, and David has helped me tremendously in my process of understanding this stuff and fighting it. We are united as brothers for sure. David, we're going to have to let you go. We got to get out of here, but
we have to leave early today.
And may Hashem guide your way, and we're there. We got your back, let me tell you, okay?
And congratulations.
Thank you very much. Take care. our good friend David Yolshemi, and amazing guy. Very important case. We got to go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to check out here right now. We will see you tomorrow. We're going to look at Egypt and see what's going on. Tom, Mike, Mark, and CJ. Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470.